Hello everyone. Today we are going to study Cell, the Unit of Life. It is chapter number 8. We have three chapters with reference to cell. First is Cell, the Unit of Life. Second is Biomolecules. And third is Cell Cycle and Cell Division. In this chapter, we are going to study basically the structure of cell. Now, what we have to study in this? First of all, we'll start with discovery of the cell, going to cell theory. Then we will study size and shape of different cells. Then what are the different types of cells? In particular, we'll be studying two more prokaryotic cell and a eukaryotic cell. Now, what is a cell? Actually, cell is considered to be the structural and functional unit of all living organisms. So basically, all the living organisms are made up of either one or many cells. If they are made up of one single cell, they are called unicellular organisms like amoeba, euglena, paramecium, chlamydomonas, etc. If they are made up of many cells, they are called multicellular organisms like we human beings or other plants and animals. Human beings are made up of around 100 trillion, that is 100 into 10 raised to 12 cells. Even a drop of blood contains millions of cells. Now, when we are studying cell, at that time we are studying cytology. So, the study of cells is called cytology. Now, how is the cell discovered? The cell was first discovered by Robert Hooke. Actually, they were first observed by Robert Hooke in a slice of cork. Cork is particularly like the bark of a tree. First of all, he observed them under a very primitive type of microscope. The microscope is compared to today's our magnifying lens. The first simple microscope was assembled by Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Okay, now Robert Hooke, when he took a slice of cork and observed under a microscope, at that time he observed that there are similar hexagonal structures which look like a honeycomb. You can see in this diagram, they look like honeycomb and they form thin walled compartments. So the word cell itself comes from the Latin word cella, which means a hollow compartment that is closed from all the sides. That is the reason that the word cell is also used as prison in many countries. Okay, so basically, cells at that time were observed as nothing but something which is closed from all the sides. That was done by Robert Hooke. Later on, many other scientists started studying cell, and even Robert Hooke observed so many other plants and animals under his simple microscope. So, this is how the cell was first of all discovered. Then scientists started studying after it, and lot the study of cell actually progressed a lot rapidly in 19th century after the invention of microscope. Okay, so then two different scientists, first of all Matthias Kleiden, who was a botanist in Germany in 1838, and another British zoologist Theodore Swan in 1839. Both of them actually gave their individual theories regarding what a cell is. So, in their individual findings, both of them found out that cells have basically, whether it is a plant or an animal, they have basically same structure and same functions. But they could not explain how the cells were made or how the cells were formed or from where the cells have come. Okay, so the first cell theory was proposed by Schleiden and Swan, and then in 1855, Rudolf Virchow he added that how the cells were formed. So he said that omnis cellula e cellula, that means that all the cells arising are, or all the cells arise from pre-existing cells only. So the main points of the cell theory are: first, all living organisms are composed of cells and products of cells. Second point, a cell is the structural and functional unit of all living organisms. And third point, which was added by Rudolf Virchow, that all cells arise from pre-existing cells. Now, this was in 1800, that is in the 19th century. Later on, lots of exceptions were there to this theory, because the cell theory could not be uh, applied to all organisms, though it was substantially correct, but there were certain exceptions. So we'll just go through what are exceptions to the cell theory. The first exception to the cell theory is that there is no reference of virus in the cell theory. Okay, now viruses do not possess a particular cellular machinery, so they are not cells, or they are cells. That was a confusion. The second exception was that bodies of some fungi and some algae, they do not have a particular cell structure like as we define a cell. So that was also a problem. Then there are bacteria and lots of blue green algae which do not have a nucleus, so the functioning of the cell is different as compared to other cells. In our body, our red blood corpuscles and the sieve cells in case of plants, they do not have a nucleus, they do not have major cell organelles also, but still they are all working cells. So how can you explain that? So that was an exception. Then there are cork cells, the first cells that were observed. They do not have a living protoplasm. Actually, it is replaced by non-living materials. So there was something which was not able, the cell theory could not explain. Okay, so later on, all these exceptions were included in a modern cell principle, but we don't have to study that just now. So the cell theory with the 3 points is still acceptable with a few exceptions. Okay, now moving forward to size of the cell. A normal cell is usually from 3 to 30 microns. This is the normal or average size of the cell. But we have largest cell of the ostrich egg, that is around 170 by 135 mm. So it is the largest animal cell. That is the egg of an ostrich. There are certain cells which can be as large as 90 to 100 centimeter also. The best example is our human nerve cells, but they cannot be considered as the largest cell because they all the human nerve cells are not as large. So some of them can be large, so we cannot generalize that statement. Okay, the smallest cells are mycoplasma, or commonly called pleuropneumonia-like organisms, that is PPLO. They are very very small, as around zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.5 microns. Then there is an alga which is called Acetabularia. It can grow as long as 10 centimeters, but still the same issue, that it cannot be considered as the largest cell because all Acetabularia do not grow up to 10 centimeters. Okay, so the size of the cell can vary according to its location, where it is, or its function, what it is going to do. You can see here in the diagram there are lots and lots of different size of the cell. You have a muscle cell, you have a adipocyte, then there are neurons. Okay, so different types of cells are mentioned here. Then coming to shape of the cell. Cells can be of various shapes. Okay, they can be disc like our red blood cell. They can be polygonal as in plant cell. They can be rectangular, they can be cuboidal. Even some cells are very thin thread like structures, or they can be irregularly shaped like an amoeba. They can be slipper shaped like a paramecium. They can be branched like our nerve cells. They can be spindle shaped like you can see here in our muscle cells. So the cells are of various shapes. Now, why these different shapes? The shape of the cell is actually dependent on what function it has to do. Okay. Other thing, where they are, what is their position. Okay, and what is the age of the cell. That also to an extent adds to the shape of the cell. Okay, so in this topic we have just studied the cell theory, the size and shape of the cells. In the next slide, in the next topic, we'll be studying different types of cells. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching the video.